What's up, everybody? Another week in the books. We are through with week 4, heading into week 5. We're a little understaffed today. We are the well-mannered cartel. I have Mike and Jose with us. Marlon and Chris could not be with us today, so it's going to be a little bit different of a dynamic today. But let's get right into the week 4 results. The first match we're looking at is the Muff Vipers 171, the Chimps 159. Muff Vipers, man, they keep rolling. I believe they're 3-1 now.
Yeah, after what was it, like week 1, week 2, they weren't doing so hot. They had like a pretty bad loss, if I remember correctly. I don't remember if it was week 1 or week 2, but hey, I mean they're 3-1 now, so
I
who's
think it was a
laughing
close
now?
loss. I think he lost to Over Easy last week.
Oh, okay. I thought
But
we were
yeah,
like shitting on his roster, weren't we?
Muff Vipers. I think you guys were shitting on Barkley, and me and Chris were like, "Nah, Barkley's good."
Okay, maybe
And
that's what it is. All
he's
right.
put up 32 points again. So me and Chris were
Yeah,
right.
yeah, maybe that's what what it was.
But again, so yeah, Barkley had 32.6, Herbert 27, Tyler Lockett had a down game, Jared Cook had 19. It's good from the tight end position. Jamar Chase had 14.7, Leonard Fournette 16.8. The Bills D had 24 for him. So he had a lot of pretty good games all around. Didn't have really like massive games aside from that 32 point game from Saquon. The Chimps, on the other hand, they got handed their first loss of the season. Patches Mahomes went for 44. Melvin Gordon, I think, yeah, he only had 8.7. I don't know about Melvin Gordon right now. DeAndre Hopkins has not been putting up points either. He's 10.7. Scary Terry, though, man, another huge game. He put up 40. Mark Andrews 11. DeAndre Swift only 8.9, and so that's kind of where the Chimps fell. And so this is
Yeah,
probably one of the Chimps, or the Chimps' worst performance of the year. He's
yeah,
still put
and
up 159.
he really didn't leave points on the bench. I mean, he left maybe a couple points here and there, but like not enough points that he would have that would have made the difference. So
For sure. I
yeah,
think he put up 159 is the lowest he scored all season, I believe. So that's still pretty damn good. I
yeah,
don't see a whole lot of depth. I think he's, I don't know, running back seems a little rough for him. But otherwise, his team looks very stout still. But this is a big win for the Muff Vipers, especially in that win division. And these guys are, kind of both 3-1 now, both kind of pulling away from the pack in terms of victories. And let's take a look at the next matchup, which is Dem Lions 124.44. Gridiron Throne loses just barely by a hair, legit 122.22. So 0.22, Mike, is the amount of point that you lost by, man. Can you break
all
it
right,
down?
yeah. So let me just indulge me for a second. So a couple years ago, I beat Flint Tropics by point 0.1, and I got stat corrected down into a tie.
Yeah.
Last year, Marlon beat me by point 0.1, and there was no stat correction. And now this year, I've lost by 0.22. So I think I'm just destined to lose to everyone in our league by a decimal point at this point. It's really discouraging, you know. I went to bed kind of PO'd. I guess I don't know if you can say that there was a difference maker. I mean, anything was a difference maker when you lose by a decimal point. But I guess the obvious one was Robbie Gold. Apparently got injured at some point in the game and didn't play, so I got 0 points out of him.
Damn.
Uh, Big disappointment was Chris Carson. He got 4 points, literally one more point out of him. 10 more yards, whatever would have gotten me the win. And then like fucking everybody, all of my receivers last week, put up 30 to 40 points, and this week they put up, 10 to 12 points. So it's just a big disappointment all around. Not that Dem Lines did any better, really. He
Yeah,
just,
super low scoring game all the way
yeah,
around. I think
yeah,
both you guys scored well under your projected scores.
yeah. He just, got that decimal point that he
Bit of
needed.
a head
So
scratcher with the Jameis Winston start. I'm sure you were happy after seeing that.
yeah, so he had put in Ryan Tannehill, and then I guess the day of the game or maybe the night before the game he put in Winston instead. And so that obviously kept me in because there's like a 4 point difference between the two. Um, yeah, Cooper Cup only put up 11 points, which is
Low
really low
scorer,
for
I
his
think, of the
standards.
season. He's been having a monster year so
And
far.
then it came down to the Monday night game with the Chargers and the Raiders. I had Keenan Allen, he had Mike Williams, and if I had outscored him by 9 points, I would have won the game. I outscored Keenan Allen outscored him by 8 points. So this is
Yeah,
really
I
really
think
ridiculous.
Dem Lions only had one big score. Relatively.
Edwards-Helaire, yeah.
CEH had 29. Um, and so yeah, man, very, very, very low scoring game, and it came down to decimal point. So that was rough. With that said, like Dem Lions moves up to 3-1, and Gridiron Throne, after coming off of your first big victory of the season, coming down with a loss is
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking because you think like, oh, I'm gonna start putting
You're
together
over the
some
hump, right? You
wins. Yeah, I'm
think, like,
over the
that.
hump, and like, I mean, who knows? I could win from here on out and not get in the playoffs maybe because of this fucking game. So like, I mean, just it fucking sucks to say the least.
For sure, man. The next game we're looking at is Culon Santo 196, Vino Papi 187. Culon Santo is
Yeah.
rolling at 4-0. Break it down, Jose.
Jose, hold on real quick, Jose. You have like a mark right here. I don't know. It's like kind of in the shape of a dick.
What?
I'm saying I think Marlon dick slapped you with this game here.
Yeah, dude, Marlon's fucking waving his big dick all around, man. You know how you've mentioned before getting Derrick Henry? This guy has been fucking Cordell Patterson people. In short, like he got him an ass load of points last week. Did the
This
same
one game you got Cordell Patterson, bro.
No, this is this. Yeah, I know, but the one time he needed to use him because his one of his or two of his receivers I think were out, and he fucking has another monster game. It was pretty crazy. And then not only that, to like when you put up 187, and I just thought I was already gonna have a big advantage just because that whole his receiver situation with them being hurt. Yeah, it just sucked, but he's got a squad.
What's funny is like I think it was 2 weeks ago before we started recording, like Marlon and I were chatting, and he's like, "Man, I'm kind of worried about this week because I'm having to start in Cordero Patterson, and I don't know if I can trust him." And then since then, Patterson has just been putting up those points, man, and being a real difference maker for him. So his worries were unfounded at the time.
Yeah. But I mean,
it was overall it was a close game, man.
Yeah, I mean, you put up 187 points, which
196 to 187. I mean, you had a big game out of Debo. He almost put up 50 for you. Stephon Diggs 28. Waller had solid 18. Brady, not his best game.
My DST usually is lacks a little bit, or at least the past couple of weeks has been lacking. The Ravens actually did solid this time. Where I did lack for sure was at the quarterback position. I mean, Brady just came off a monster game from last week, like 50 some odd points, and then
if he gets in the 20s, dude, you win that game.
Exactly. And not only that, but Carlson too, my kicker, has been scoring consistently at least 15 plus points or more, and this time he only got 2.
Yeah, Carlson screwed me week 1.
Yeah, so no bueno. But other than that, man, I mean, I can't complain to you. I mean, my team looked good. It just wasn't enough against.
Yeah, dude, you put up 187, you expect to win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's way above average. What she said. But yeah, dude, I mean, Culon Santos is rolling right now, and it's just whenever one player doesn't show up, he has someone like Cordell Patterson that just comes out swinging.
Yeah,
so he's catching all the breaks, man, all the good breaks.
He's 4-0. He said he didn't need us to tell us that to tell him that, but we're telling him anyway. Marlon, you're 4-0, bro.
Yeah. The next one we have is the Bad Hombres 155, Flint Tropics 187. I believe that is the code for murder. If you are a policeman. So yeah.
Chris is not entirely in the same situation as I was this week, but he, we both got big wins last week. I was the highest scoring, and he was the second highest scoring last week. And then the following week we get losses. So
he
just
called
really
it, man.
sucks.
He called it last week, dude. He was like, you know what? I don't have a good feeling about this game, and he was right. I mean, at one point his team didn't look like they were going to, put up that many points, and then he put up a respectable 155, but Flint put up 187. So let's take a look at that breakdown.
Moore was his MVP this week, 46 points.
Yeah, Moore's been showing out, dude. Stafford's been solid as well.
Is someone who hasn't been just kind of performing up to par in terms of expectations based off of last year. Even though he missed Dak last year half the season, whenever, I can't remember, whatever backup quarterbacks that they had, he still had decent games. And this year with Dak, CeeDee Lamb hasn't, just been performing besides week one. And
Chris kind of broke it down, right? He broke it down for us, talking about how the running game is just working so much for Dallas right now that and the defense is better.
Yeah.
They're not having to throw the ball as much. And obviously that's working in favor of Ezekiel Elliott, who was on Flint Tropics' team. Yeah. And against CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott had put up 31.3.
Yeah, but Dak still put up 35 points, dude. He had 4 touchdowns.
Very true. Very true. But he only had 188 yards passing. So typically when you put up 188 yards passing, you're not usually going to have 4 touchdowns. But, that's just kind of the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, again, 35.7. Myers, 16.8.
Yeah.
Robert Woods, 14.8. Yeah, dude. I mean, that's kind of it, man. Dak Prescott, Derrick Henry, and Zeke were the ones who carried Flint Tropics to that 187 points.
Yeah.
Flint Tropics is now 2-2, and Bad Hombres is now 1-3. I know he's not. Chris isn't where he wanted to be, and Flint Tropics is getting back to 500, so that's good for him.
Yeah.
But competitive so far, man. I mean, it's still early in the year, but it's becoming tougher and tougher for teams that are 1-3 or 0-4 to kind of piece together.
To get back in the game.
2 more games to look at. Over easy, 175. The Lady Boys, 173. And we knocked on the Lady Boys, but he put up a very respectable 173 points.
Yeah.
It was close for over easy. I know too close for comfort for her.
Yeah.
He was able to pull it out.
Yeah. At some point, I think at some point it was looking like the Lady Boys were going to put up the win. Tyreek Hill just fucking murdered the game.
Tyreek Hill had 61 points, 60.6 points. I mean, that's tough, man. You go up against a guy who puts that many points up on the board. Gesicki, another good game, 16.7. I know we were talking about Gesicki, I think week 1 or week 2, about him, kind of slacking a little bit, and maybe she should look at other tight end options. But he's been good the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, everyone else on her roster was like so. Outside of those two, Nick Chubb 21 points, Russell Wilson 26 points. It's kind of like what you expect to get out of them. Everybody else, I think, sort of underperformed. But man, when you get 60 points out of one player, man, you're just always in position to win. And so she was in position to win this week.
I think it's kind of like the story of Tyreek Hill, right?
Boom or bust, buddy.
He has a 5-point game, but I mean, more often than not, he's going to have these explosive games, and that's why you draft him, right? That's why you draft him so high.
Yeah.
On the other side,
to make all the difference one week.
For sure. On the other side, you got Joe Burrow, who put up, 37 points for the Lady Boys. Jonathan Taylor came out big, 30.4 points. Marquise Brown, 22 points. Antonio Gibson, 15.5. And those were the big ones for him. And his IDP Wilson had 25 points. Yeah. So overall, I think his team performed pretty well. Pretty. He didn't really have like a monster game, like obviously Tyreek did, but he had a good amount of contributors that made his score. But over easy, man, 3-1. Bangkok Lady Boys 1-3. We were knocking on Bangkok, and this is a respectable performance.
He showed out this week. He showed out.
He did. The last matchup was my own. Fall to 0-4, 137 to the Golden Dragons. Good Lord, 251. That's a big score. Biggest of the season so far, man.
Yeah.
I think I underperformed by a shit ton.
Yeah.
He had a few players that had their pretty much games of the season.
Yeah. David Montgomery, man. I know I was kind of shitting on him last week, and then he put up 32 points. I also went up against Montgomery in a different league, and that was like the difference maker in that game too. So I lost that game as well.
Yeah, he got that bonus, the 10-point bonus, 106
Yeah.
yards, 2 touchdowns. So 32 points from him, 32.6 points. Kenny Galladay, where's that guy been? Put up 30.6. Deontay Johnson, 27. Knox put up 20.7. Austin Eckler put up 40. Najee Harris put up 21. All of his team, I'm looking at it right now, they all overperformed.
Mm-hmm.
And all of my team underperformed, except for Lamar Jackson. Everybody else scored below, and Justin Jefferson. But everybody else, for me, I guess Travis Kelce, man, you don't expect Kelce to only score 6 points for you. And that's a rough one.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson has been MIA all season. That quarterback situation is terrible for him right now. He only has 9.3 points.
He might be in better position going forward though, because I think they named Justin Fields the starter going forward. So he might be trending. He might be trending in the right direction.
We'll talk about him and what I'm going to do with him when we get to next week's matchups. But so far he's been terrible.
Yeah.
Tim Patrick 6.9. He was kind of like, I don't know. I was on the fringe about starting him. Didn't really matter, man, because no one's beating someone who scores 250 points. I mean, everything was working for Golden Dragons that week. Congrats to him. He had a huge week, and that's going to be it's a great booster for playoffs if it's going to come down to points with somebody, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Fart Hounds are now 0-4. The Golden Dragons are now 2-2.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the standings right now. In the Earth Division, the Chimps are on top at 3-1. There is no longer an undefeated squad in this division. The Chimps are 3-1 with 714 points scored. Dem Lions also 3-1 with 706 points scored. Vino Bobbies you've got 747 points scored, Jose, but you sit at 1-3. That's tough. With the Fart Hounds stinking it up this week, 0-4. 738 points scored. This is kind of you're seeing the cream of the crop rising to the top here.
Yeah.
With 2, 3-1 squads. And then, Jose, obviously you're putting up points, man. So that's gotta hurt right here in the
it's gotta sting.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's just been playing like their best weeks against
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here, man. But this past week I shit the bed. Like I've been putting up points for the most part, and people were like, "You, dude, like I put up 187 points week 1, and you beat me." And that was rough. So yeah, I know the feeling. Yeah. But yeah, man, division is kind of separating itself. It kind of sucks. We have to kind of get back into the swing of things. We gotta, start stringing some wins together.
These
season.
These podcasts are gonna turn into some pity parties, bro.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the win division next. Over easy, 3-1, 672 points scored. The Muff Vipers also at 3-1, 649 points scored. The Golden Dragons are now 2-2 with 694 points scored, thanks to that huge score that he had this past week of 251. And then finally, the Bad Hombres, who actually has the most points scored in that division, 699.8, and he sits at 1-3. So similar situation to Jose. A lot of points being put up by Bad Hombres. He just does not have the record.
Yeah. This is definitely the closest division, both in terms of points and records. So Chris isn't out yet.
Yep. And we got the Fire division. Gulon Santo 4-0, sitting pretty at the top all by himself. 713 points scored. The Flint Tropics are now 2-2, 679 points scored. And Gridiron Throne 1-3, 643.5 points scored. And the Bangkok Ladyboys also at 1-3, 564 points scored. So this division looking a little weaker than the rest of the divisions.
Yeah.
And so
really
do
quick,
not.
Tom, I don't know if you noticed this, but so I have in this league of record, I have 746 or 747 points on the year, which is the most in the entire league. But if you look at points attempted, like when you talk about how much your team has kind of like underperformed here and there, you would be leading the entire league.
No, that's points against, homie. That's how many points they've scored against you.
I thought that's how many like you were projected, and I was like, dude, that means you would be averaging like over 200 points a game, which is
no.
No, that means
I lead.
points are.
I lead
Yeah.
by. I lead by a little bit, man. I have the most points scored against me. So
Yeah.
your boy. That's why your boy is 0-4.
okay.
But so we don't have Chris today, but we're gonna head it over to Michael's corner. Mike.
All right. So we have the bed shitter of the week. I'm starting there. There's many candidates for that. This is slightly personal. I'm just going with Chris Carson because he put up 4 fucking points and I lost. So he's my bed shitter of the week. And shout out to Chris because he does a really good job with the who the fuck is that guy candidate. It's kind of a hard candidate to search out for. So
you should have asked him for his resources.
I know I should have.
You get him, dude. Where do you get those fuckers?
Yeah, man, he does some deep dives. So I don't really have a who the fuck is that guy. I have more of a where the fuck has that guy been? And my candidate this week was actually Tyreek Hill. Last couple of weeks, he's put up like I think around 10 points a week. And then this week he puts up 60 points and he really, really, really delivered the win for Haley. So he's my where the fuck has that guy been of the week. Squander. Can there be anyone else but me as a squanderer this week? Like I said, pretty much any roster move I would have made the difference. So I that loss is just entirely on the way I managed my roster this week. Pour him out. A couple of candidates for this. One is on my roster again, Robbie Gould. He injured himself, and I think he's out for the season. Another candidate was David Montgomery. He puts up like 30 points in the game, and he got injured. He left that game early.
He could have got hurt 2 quarters earlier.
Fuck. So we're pouring him out for those guys. No talent pussy of the week. I'm reluctant to give this to myself, but the points don't lie. 1 week you're sitting on top of the league, and the next you're looking up at everybody else.
I just realized how low scoring of a game that was, dude. So you guys were the loser was getting no talent.
Yeah. Had we tied, we would have had the first ever no talent pussy of the week situation.
That game saved my ass because I was the next lowest scoring squad.
Yeah, absolutely. And big cock on the block. Kenneth Muchek, man, just fucking put up points this week. Yeah, the Golden Dragons, bro.
I think we gave him a hard time about his roster, I think, at the end of the season, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they put up 250 points. That's not I mean, I don't know, man. That's a humongous score.
Yeah, big cock of the season so far. It's not just the Golden Dragons with the golden cock, bro.
I mean, it's one of the highest scores
like ever, right?
Maybe top 5.
Yeah, maybe. I think
them Lions almost hit 300.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like,
man, he was only like
years ago
shy. It was like 297 or something, which is crazy. That year where he won it all. But 251, man, that's huge. Like I said, everybody on his team was just hitting bonuses, and everyone came out to play, and it was at my expense. So congrats to Golden Dragons. Let's get into a little trade talk. I know there's another pretty big trade that went on again with Vino Poppy. It's funny how we don't plan to have you on the show when you make a trade, in the week, but that's kind of the way it's worked out, dude. So it was another divisional trade.
Yeah.
Inside of the division again, you traded with me first, and now you made a trade with them Lions. Kind of break down that trade, man.
Yeah. So I drafted Robinson, and I drafted a couple of just kind of waiver pickups, just as far as like to back up Robinson in case he got hurt. I just thought Robinson was going to come out guns blazing toward how he was towards the end of the year. He was going like 20 to 30 points towards the end of last season. that has not worked out. The past 2 weeks, he's been a little bit better, but just not nowhere near, to just get me over this weird hump where I'm putting up as many points as I am.
As you are, yeah.
So just give us who was traded though.
Yeah, sure. So ultimately, what came down to I, made an offer to Dem Lines of Thielen, Henderson, and then Judy, who is on my IR, for Dalvin Cook, DJ Chark, and Devonta Smith.
Yeah. Did you guys have to do any like haggling with that, or how did it go?
Yeah, of course. So originally, I think my offer was, I can just pull it up really quick. I think my original offer was Henderson, Thielen, and Judy for Jones. Actually, I kind of wanted Jones, and I was only doing that because actually, if you look at it now, I have in week 7, I have a bye where Robinson and Cook are going to be out. So that's why originally I was going for Jones, for Aaron Jones, just to have, him go in my RB spot for the week. But, I think he just kind of likes Jones a little bit better, or maybe he had, he was in the, in the same situation. So ultimately,
yeah,
Dalvin Cook is still Dalvin Cook. I'm going to have to, play around with what I'm going to do in week 7, but that's ultimately how I ended up with Cook instead. But again, Dalvin Cook is still Dalvin Cook. So
yeah, I was, telling you guys before this, like, Henderson was a player that I targeted in the draft. He was like on my watch list, and he just happened to get taken by Tom, like the round before I was going to take him. And then, the last couple of days or so, I was kind of stewing in my disappointment of the week, and I was considering making trade offers for either Darrell Henderson or another player not to be named on the podcast. I didn't get to make my offer though, because this trade got executed before that, so I might be in a little bit of a different situation than I planned to be.
Darrell Henderson's third team of the season, and we're just through with week 4.
Yeah.
So that's funny. But yeah, overall, I think it's a good trade. I think Dem Lines is kind of looking to win now. Is what kind of I got. I spoke to him yesterday. He's kind of in it for right now. He's 3-1, so I mean,
he's in position. He's in position.
Yeah.
So yeah, good trade for both teams. I think it helps both teams out, and Dem Lyons was loaded at running back, and now he has a little bit of leeway in at other positions. And Jose, you needed a running back, and you got one of the best with Dalvin Cook, so I think it worked out. So now let's get into the last section of the episode. Let's get into week 5's games. This first matchup is a tough one. Dem Lions 3-1 versus the Lady Boys 1-3. Let's give our predictions and kind of break this one down. I will say that I am going to pick Dem Lions.
Yeah. For a couple of reasons. One, Dem Lions are Dem Lions. They only put up 124 points this past week, but I don't see them
putting up a win, man.
Yeah, I don't. They put up. Hey, they put up 124 points last week and got a win. So
he's gonna beat you, and he's gonna make you feel it. Like he could have beat you by like 40 points, man, but he didn't want to do it that way.
Yeah.
He wanted to beat you by 0.4, bro.
Yeah, he wanted my heart to break. So, and he got what he wanted. But yeah, I mean, Dem Lions are Dem Lions, and Lady Boys are Lady Boys. I don't see Dem Lions putting up 124 points again. I see them putting up, maybe like 170, 180, as they are accustomed to. And I don't know. I don't really have a prediction for how the Lady Boys are going to do. They put up 175 this past week. I don't know if they're going to reach those heights again. But I am comfortable predicting that they will lose this week. And I'm kind of selfishly rooting for it only because they're in my division and I need to keep them, below me.
For sure, man. It would be better for me if Dem Lions lost. Obviously, he's in my division and I have a bit of a ways to climb to get back into contention. But, aside from those 3-1 teams and that 4-0 team, I think everyone's kind of in the mix after that, right? And then people can kind of fall off a little bit. And so we're in an interesting part of the season. Like we talked about last week, we're in the meat of the season right now. Dem Lions, I just think he has better matchups as well as just a better roster overall. So that's why I'm taking him. Jose?
Likewise, man. Dem Lions, sweep. Jonathan Taylor has been kind of spotty. he might, he does have a good matchup against Baltimore. So does Joe Burrow. But yeah, just overall, you just look at Demline's team. I mean, I just like his team, his squad, especially going into this week more than Bangkok Ladyboys. So I'm gonna pick Demlines.
Mhm.
That's a sweep, the first one of the week. Now we have the Muff Vipers. We're 3-1 versus Vino Poppy, 1-3. So Jose, this is your matchup. Go ahead and give us your spin on it, man.
Picking myself, dude. Lord knows I need it, man. Especially in our division. But like we just went over I feel really good about the trade. If Dalvin Cook is cleared, he's listed as questionable for some reason on here, but I think he's going to play. So hopefully with him playing, I think I really like my squad now, and I think this is nothing against Muff Vipers because he's got a really good squad as well. We also mentioned a little while ago how Barkley has now been really good. He's been starting to perform really well too. He has Lockett, he has Evans, so his and not only that, this this rookie Chase as well, who's been doing really, really well.
Man, Jamar Chase has been killing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. After a slow start to the season, he really just turned it on.
I think Jose, you're projected to score 30 points or 20-something points over him, but I really feel like it's going to be much closer than that. But I kind of do feel like you have the upper edge in terms of matchups, especially if Dalvin's good to go. He didn't practice today. It's an ankle knock, but it's probably more precautionary.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Brady against Miami is juicy. So
yeah,
I'm kind of
anything where
I don't know, man. I'm looking at it now. It's looking pretty close, dude. I don't know.
I was about to say I'm kind of reluctant to make a pick. I think one thing that's an interesting dynamic to this game is he has Mike Evans and you have Tom Brady. So I mean, Mike Evans can't do well without Tom Brady doing well.
So Miami has a decent defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if
not against the run, so that is definitely going to work in favor of their running game, which is Fournette. But yeah, Miami can't stop the run at all right now. It's terrible.
Exactly, which means Brady, especially once they get up and score, that might mean Brady's not going to throw as much. You know what I mean? So I think that might be a wild card. Plus Jamar Chase.
Oh, Muff Vipers also have Fournette.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I was about to.
I mean, so Brady's not going to throw as much. They're going to run a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so that could be, maybe him having Mike Evans will kind of even that out. But ultimately, I think too, I really need just Dalvin Cook, which is exactly why I made the trade to be Dalvin Cook, and just kind of overcome whatever Barkley and Jamar Chase, what I'm expecting him to put up, because I have Robin in my flex position against Jamar Chase. But yeah, I think to Tom's
I think it's going to be very, very close, but I'll go ahead and give it to you, man. Like your points scored has to be a reflection at this point, dude. Like where it makes itself right. I think you're going to pull it out. I think it's going to be very, very close though. This is going to be one of those that's a very close matchup. Muff Vipers, I think you look at his projections week in and week out, and they're not that high, but he's winning.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think his projections are lower than they should be. I think this will be a really close game. I'm gonna go ahead and pick you, Jose, and I think one thing to keep an eye on your roster is Stephon Diggs. He's going, the Bills are going up against KC, and this has a potential to be like a high-scoring game. So it wouldn't shock me, if we're sitting here next week talking about how Stephon Diggs put up like 40-something points.
I hope so, man.
The next one is Flint Tropics, who was 2-2 against the Chimps, who were 3-1. The Chimps have been rolling. They picked up their first loss of the season this past week, but they're looking to bounce back. Like we were talking about, that high scoring matchup potentially between Buffalo and KC. Patrick Mahomes is in that one. He might light it up for the Chimps. But on the other side of the ball, Dak Prescott for the Flint Tropics is going up against the Giants, which is a juicy matchup. I think a big one right here is for Flint. He has Derrick Henry going up against Jacksonville. So that might someone might get Derrick Henry.
On the flip side of the coin, the Chimps have Melvin Gordon, which is not like a great situation right now, especially against Pittsburgh, who always has like a pretty good defense. Oh man, to make a pick for this one, I think I'm gonna have to go with Flint here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Flint too. I'm low key also hoping he loses because Chimps are in my division.
Yeah.
So that would that'll definitely make my playoff contention a little bit better. But also because Melvin Gordon really performed his first week really well for him. But if you look at his snap percentage, it's been going kind of trending down since or kind of over the last 4 weeks.
Yeah,
and I haven't ultimately going to bite him, especially this week that he's going up against Pittsburgh. Now he can put Swift in that position, in the running back position, and Swift has been doing really well, except last week. But
Swift's got a growing issue as well.
Yeah, but just Tom made some great points. He has Prescott, he has Henry, so I just kind of like Flint's team and their matchups this week in general as well. So I think Flint has the upper hand this week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say Patrick Mahomes goes AWOL, man. I think he's gonna go crazy against Buffalo. I think he's gonna put up close to 60, and it's gonna drive the Chimps to victory. That rhymed. The next matchup is the Fard Hounds, who sit at 0-4, the worst team in the league, versus the Bad Hombres, one of the other bad teams in the league in terms of wins and losses, who's 1-3. This is an intra cartel matchup between Chris and myself. I got to take myself, man. I mean, I've done the whole putting all the chips in, for my opponent, and that didn't work for me. The Black Magic ended this year. But I have Lamar Jackson against Indy. I had to pick up James Conner, man, because Mixon has a bit of a knock. So James Conner is going to be my spot start at running back. He's been getting into the end zone. He has 4 touchdowns the last 2 weeks, and he's the goal line back. I think he's second in the league in goal line attempts. So I'm hoping he can get into the end zone a couple times. On the other side, Chris has Stafford against Seattle. That's the Thursday night game. He has Damian Williams for Chicago. I guess it's a spot start for him since Montgomery is down. Calvin Ridley against the Jets. Calvin Ridley might go off, man. He hasn't really had a Calvin Ridley type game this season, so this might be the game for him to do it. Mm-hmm. I have Justin Jefferson against Detroit, though, which I feel pretty good about. DK Metcalf against the Rams. I don't know. DK really hasn't put up a massive game this year, so maybe it's going to be tough against the Rams, but he might do it. DJ Moore had a massive game last week going up against Philly, and hopefully Kelsey can put up some points for me against Buffalo. In the flex position, he has T. Higgins and CeeDee Lamb. Those are two decent positions, but like again, CeeDee Lamb really hasn't been putting up points these last couple of weeks. But who knows, man? He might go off this week. I have Jamison Crowder, who had a big game last week. This is his first game back this season after injury, and he's just like a target machine. He catches those intermediate routes, and so for PPR, he's a great flex, I feel, and so hopefully he can put some points up on the board for me. And Allen Robinson, man, we were talking about him earlier, Mike, and I said we talk about him later. I was going to bench him, dude. I was really going to bench him in favor of. I was going to put Devontae Parker in instead.
Dude, I was literally looking at your roster, and I was like, I 100% get it. Especially
Devontae Parker might have a pretty good game because the Dolphins are going to be playing from behind the entire time. So that's just in terms of target for the flex position. But I drafted Allen Robinson at a pretty high spot. He has not met that expectation, but they did name Fields the starter, so hopefully they can build something. I really need him to pull out something good, something big. So I'm gonna
you need him to pull out.
So I'm gonna take myself this one, man. I think it might be a very close game as well. I mean, I'm looking at Chris's roster and looks pretty solid too, but I got to take myself this time.
Yeah, bro. I have to pick you this week too. I know I said this maybe like a couple weeks ago, but like with the points that you've been putting up, like you're fucking bound to win a game. Like it's
Dude, okay, so I was talking to Jose yesterday, dude, and I was like, dude, I look at my roster and it's like stacked, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, Travis Kelce. What? You know, like how am I 0-4 right now?
Yeah.
But that's fantasy football, dude.
That's fantasy football, but like, I mean, just playing the odds, bro. You're fucking bound to win a game, and I think this will be the
Chris
week that you
said, maybe he spoke it into existence. Well, he said he did not want me to pick up my first victory against him. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We'll see.
Didn't he say that last year against you also?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm always really bad in the year, and then I get a victory over Chris, and it's always really nice.
Oh no, it was with me. Because I was like, I don't know, like 1-6 or something, and I beat Chris last year.
Jose.
So this is a really, really interesting matchup. I think it's actually gonna be really, really close. It's actually funny how both of y'all are having kind of a little bit of a running back issue. Y'all both picked up streamers this week. You picked up James Conner. He picked up Damian Williams. However, I do think James Conner has a little bit more of the upper hand. Damian Williams is not David Montgomery. So I think James Conner will, not by much, but I think he's going to outperform Damian Williams. He does have DJ Moore. However, Travis Kelce is going up against Buffalo. Buffalo's going to put up points, which, like to your point earlier about Mahomes, they're going to have to be throwing, and Kelce's one of his best targets besides Hill.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I don't like about the matchup, and again, I am actually I'm leaning with Tom, giving you the edge. I don't like Robinson this week only because of how they shut down Kyle Allen and Mike Williams last week. Like the loss.
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen, sorry, yeah. How they shut both of them down because you saw both of them were super low scoring.
Yeah, Mike Williams had 2 fucking points, dude. It's
2
crazy.
points. So that's the only thing. However,
my reasoning behind it is because they announced Fields as the starter.
Yeah.
So he's taking those reps at practice now.
Yeah.
That and David Montgomery's injured. They're not going to be able to run the ball, hopefully. Yeah. So hopefully that works out for me because he's starting Damian Williams. Yeah, maybe they'll be able to run the ball. We'll see.
Yeah.
If they can't get it going on the run, they're gonna have to throw the ball, man. But Fields has not been targeting Robinson that much. He did get 3 receptions and had some pretty big gains. So hopefully, he's a big play away from having a really good game for me. But I mean that's I had to start Robinson this week.
Yeah, and again, like I said, it's going to be close, and I think the real difference maker, if you look at the tight end position, I mean, there's a huge gap there, and that's really one of the only places for this whole matchup where there's a huge disparity, and that's with Kelce.
I don't know, man. Johnny Smith's going up against Houston, who's terrible.
True.
Second week in a row, I'm going up against
Travis Kelce's
tight end is going up against the Texans, and Dawson Knox put up fucking 20-something points. Dawson Knox, dude.
But again,
Johnny Smith,
even if he does put up 20 points, again, Buffalo, I think Buffalo's going up against, Mahomes, and Mahomes is, one of his favorite targets is Kelce. So I think that's where, it might really help you.
It's going to be close, man. We'll see. I think also it's been hurting me all years, my defense and mainly my defense and my kicker. So I picked up a new defense and a new kicker today.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. I do think it's going to be close, but I'm riding with me. Jose, you said you were taking
you. Yep.
So that's a sweep.
Yeah.
Sorry,
love you, Chris.
Probably going to lose though. The next matchup we have is over Easy, who's 3-1. The Gridiron Throne also 3-1. It's a big matchup, man. Big matchup. I mean, Gridiron Throne's 1-3. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It is not a big matchup. You're 1-3.
All right. So literally every single week this year, I've been projected to win, and somehow I only have 1 win on the season. So I'm gonna pick Haley this week. I also have last year my matchup against Haley. Like, this stings in my memory. I was winning by about 5 points, and she had the tight end for, I think it was the Titans, and they were it was like past the 2-minute warning. They were already winning the fucking game, And rather than take the fucking knee to end the game, they inexplicably threw a touchdown to that tight end, and that fucking lost me the game. So like I just have recurring nightmares about that, and I foresee something like that happening again this year, especially after what happened last week with the fucking decimal point loss. Like I just foresee something funky happening again. So I'm picking Haley this week, and hoping that I'm wrong.
I'm taking Haley as well.
Yeah, no surprise.
Tyreek Hill against Buffalo. He might have a big play there.
Yeah.
Cole Beasley against KC again. That's the same game. Might be very high scoring. Russell Wilson against the Rams. He might have to throw it. So we'll see, man. Godwin against Miami as well for her. You do have a good matchup with Josh Allen though, like we're talking about. I feel like everyone has a player in this game, this KC Buffalo matchup. But Josh Allen and Chase Edmonds is a good start, man. He's been pretty good in PPR formats. Been really good. Starting Chase Edmonds there. Devontae Adams against Cincinnati, very juicy. So it's gonna be close, man. I think it's gonna be very close, but I'm going over easy.
Good deal. I'm gonna give a Mike. I'm actually projecting you to have a very, very similar week like you did last week, unfortunately. I am, man. It's just like y'all both have like a couple of good and then some like not so good.
You're saying he's only going to put up 120 this week too?
No, I mean like how close it's going to be.
Oh, okay.
I think it is going to be kind of close.
I thought you were like, you're not going to score any points this week.
No. No, man. I just think what I meant was I think it's going to be very close. I love Josh Allen's edge against KC. Which is kind of weird because she's actually starting Beasley and last week he's been doing pretty solid.
Yeah. But Russell Wilson's kind of in the same position. They're going up against the Rams, and that could turn into like a 40 point game for each team. So
yeah, the only thing is he went up against Minnesota, which doesn't have the best pass defense either. And then that week I wasn't sure what happened. I think they're running a little bit more, but he only put up 18 points that week. So I don't know. I just like Josh Allen. I'm a fan of his too, but still, I just like Overeasy's players a little bit better. So I'm gonna go with Overeasy's.
Yeah. Hey, we swept this one.
Yeah.
It's a sweep, man.
Yeah.
Mike picking against himself.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull an Eli Manning and flip off the cameras.
So the last matchup we have is Culon Santo, who's 4-0 versus the Golden Dragons, who's big cock on the block this past week. So this one's an interesting game. Who do you guys have?
Man, I'm super intrigued by this game, especially coming off of Kenneth's performance last week. The Golden Dragons put up 250 points. I don't know if that's gonna be a fluke or not.
Well, 250 points.
Yeah, it's
not sustainable.
Yeah. But I mean, like I put up 225 one week and 124 the next. So I don't know if Kenneth will have a similar drop off or if he will be able to sustain more of that performance than I was able to. He put in Austin Eckler, who I'm a big fan of. David Montgomery got hurt, so he's out of the roster. Najee Harris is in his flex position. Rogers is in the flex. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Rogers in the flex position. I don't really like
sure
that.
Who that guy is.
Yeah, he might be a who the fuck is that guy candidate, or he might be a bed shitter. One or the other. Yeah.
Very rarely do we not know who a player is on a starting lineup.
All that. Yeah. Right. All that said, like Marlon is fucking 4-0, and he's I think he's put up the highest point totals in the league so far. So yeah, Marlon, Culon Santo is my pick this week.
I think Jose has the most points.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude, but Marlon's not far behind.
Yeah, Marlon's up there.
Marlon he's a beast, dude. Kyler against San Francisco, Alvin Kamara against Washington. Washington has not been good this year on defense. Cordell Patterson against the Jets. You never know, man. They might get corduroyed. Amari Cooper. He's a. And then Kittle, man, I think he has a bit of a knock, and he's been kind of hot and cold this year. I think he's only had one really standout game. Emmanuel Sanders has been solid. He's starting Emmanuel Sanders at the flex as well as Kareem Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Then I look at the Golden Dragons, Aaron Rodgers against Cincy. Eckler has a very tough matchup against Cleveland. Cleveland's been pretty shut out on D. Galladay against Dallas, juicy in theory. Deontay Johnson against Denver, who's tough. Dawson Knox against KC. I'm going to go with Culon Santo, dude. I just feel like he has better players, more talented roster. We're talking about Kenneth's team going off, or the Golden Dragons going off last week. You think he might come down to earth a little bit this week. And then Culon Santo's just been so consistent, and his team's just so good. So I'm picking
Yeah, the thing with Marlon is like he's 4-0, but like all 4 wins have been like, pretty convincing wins. He hasn't had a win that you could say is like a little bit fluky.
Yeah, or he hasn't gotten a win where he only scored like 120 points.
Yeah,
they've been pretty good.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Coulon, man. He has really good talent on his roster. Unfortunately for Kenneth, and I mentioned this last week on the pod. There's a couple of us who have a little bit better records, but we're literally like kind of 1 or maybe 2 injuries away from that kind of turning around. And I think, David Montgomery, who just finally, really performed last week for him, is now out, and so he has, just immediately looking at that Rodgers guy, I have no idea who that is. His targets did go up because I guess Julio Jones and forgot who the other receiver, Brown, yeah. AJ Brown is out. And so I get it. And not only that, our league runs kind of deep too. So, there might not be better options, but I think, just Coulon has really good talent, and everybody who is starting, I think is, just a little bit better. So I'm giving it to Coulon.
Yeah. Maybe he changes that flex spot. Speaking of Golden Dragons, maybe not, maybe he rolls with him, but you have a Julio Jones on the bench for Coulon as well, man. And if he plays, you're probably gonna have to start him, right? And he's
Julio.
Could be a difference maker. So yeah, I think that was a sweep as well.
Sure.
So that was it, man. A lot of these games we had kind of favored one way, which is interesting. But I'm looking at all the records here, and like I said, you have, a few teams that are. Well, a few teams that are 3-1, and then Marlon, who's 4-0, and then everybody else is kind of, 1-3, right? So that bodes well for me, who's 0-4, man, and that bodes well for you guys who are 1-3 as well. So that just, those are the wild card teams. You got those 3 teams at the top, and then you have kind of everybody else. So there's still hope for us, and for all you guys who are winning in the league. Congrats, you're good at this point of the season, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Catch you guys next week. Good luck this week, boys. And
Later.
Later.